Buenas noches, amigo! Hey, we're doing essentially a Dice Scum live because you can't really lore ramble something that kind of just came out. The name's Adam.
I'm Imsit, and yeah, we're going to Brazil. We're finally looking at a Brazilian RPG.
And I'm Tech Priest, and this is a terrible idea. I don't know why I'm here.
Why is this?
This is a glorious idea. Do you want to know why? Because think of all of the creative ideas that Brazil has cooked up because of their import laws, which make it so that entertainment and consumer media from outside of the country has a ridiculously high tax load off. And on top of that, uh, it's specifically a big problem with the pricing. Basically, the price tags have to be dropped significantly due to living wage and laws. So what happens is a lot of companies don't bother showing up to Brazil, at least with their products. So native industries
Well,
kind of have to pick up the
well,
slack.
well, yeah, it's all to protect the domestic market. For electronics and
And consumer
other
media.
complex machinery that aren't made in the country.
Don't think about
One
it.
thing though, one thing though we should say about Brazil though is it really does have a very large and very extensive RPG scene. A similar way that you could argue Germany has one, and I'd say probably Japan. I don't know
It's
what
a
other
little
countries
bit
besides.
frailer than Germany and Japan, mainly just because they always had a little more contact with American games. It's just getting their hands on it was a nightmare. That's why they have their own version of Dungeons and Dragons, which is pretty insane. And this is a
Yeah, they
relatively recent project that was created, I think maybe a year ago.
so yeah, to begin with, the first RPG that was made in country, Tagmar, basically a Tolkien setting. Then you got obviously as more stuff came in, they got the Fighting Fantasy series of game books. Um, they made their own magazine, Dragon Brazil. They were then able to start making their own RPGs. The most popular one that has an anime influence, Defensores de Tokyo. I think it's on its third edition,
Yeah, it's on its
and
third edition, I think.
it's its own style of a D20 system.
Essentially, this was their take on D&D at home with its own influences. It's comparable to all of the very interesting fan comics that existed down there that you could, on a limited level, actually get at markets. It's a wild, wild ecosystem.
A- And as I'm reading from a translated version of the uh, well, Portuguese language Wikipedia, it apparently was going to be this Defensores was apparently going to be uh, a supplement to Tune, the game we reviewed a month or two ago.
Wait, it really was supposed to be a supplement to
This is what I'm
what?
reading.
Oh, that's
It
amazing.
is translated. I don't so I don't know if they're
Oh, I know why. Okay, I know why they said that. Okay, so here's why. It's because Steve Jackson Games was much more. I was pretty permissive from what I remember of their licensing. Because the entire point was stuff like Tune and well, what was it, GURPS. That stuff is supposed to just kind of be the equivalent of Linux, and it's about as used as Linux is. So not as much as you think. Also, according to Metric Steel, the only tech that I know survives in Brazil is the Sega Dreamcast, and apparently it is because copying Dreamcast games is very easy, which
but
is fascinating.
they have they really have their own systems with like they have one RPG. It's Tormenta, which is like its
That's
own
the
sort
one
of
I
fantasy.
think that's the one I'm thinking of. That's the D&D clone, I
That's
think.
from the 3D NT, which is the Defensores system. Um, where there was another one, I forget its name, but they had a recent translation into English, at least for Roll 20.
Also, you are correct there. NDR, many zeros. Brazil has some very odd offshoots of international games. They have their own version of the Lord of the Rings
It
game.
it was Tormenta, I realize. The other thing though that does stand out is World of Darkness.
Well,
World
yeah,
of
because
Darkness
the Latin
caught
America.
fire. It caught on so successfully in Brazil. I don't know about the rest of Latin America, but it really grabbed on with Brazil.
That's because Brazil was mentioned. Brazil mentioned.
But the other thing I think is important is they really got into the LARP scene.
Oh, that is fantastic. I'm very curious on how that would go.
I mean, my because they were able to do it maybe more of a lot of areas more urban settings. Um,
No, you don't understand. I'm just envisioning them attempting to LARP in a favela and then just getting harassed and essentially destroyed by the police or the local gangs. Oh man, I would not want to LARP in Brazil. At least not. I mean, I'd have to pick my battles there. Holy shit.
apparently, again, I'm reading this in the 2000s because Vampire Masquerade was mistakenly linked to black magic and satanic rituals, linked to a homicide. The game was banned, and it's now part. And it was RPGs were then part of the Brazilian rating system, traditionally for the audio visual works.
Yeah, that is something that exists.
Apparently, in Vila Vela, a part of the state of Espírito Santo in the northeast region, it's banned. Just RPG books are banned.
I'm not too surprised. What is that? The northern part of Brazil? Yeah, I could see it. There's a lot of it might have been seen as offensive because there are a lot of syncretic beliefs up there, such as the concept. I forget the name of it. It's like Tambo de Bora. It's essentially a drummers movement of some sort. There's also a weird millenarianism up there, from what I remember, where they believe that King Sebastian will come. King Sebastian will come. He is the king under the mountain. Brazil is a wild place. They have their own
Yeah.
interesting werewolves where if you become old for too long, you be turned into a man-eating anteater monster. But
No,
that's a different book. We're talking about
yeah.
Vampire, which this book was probably made because of fears of getting banned and the knowledge that a native Brazilian game is much less likely to get purged.
Well, the other thing is that this game initially, at least first edition, came out in 2019.
Oh, it's older than I thought.
Yeah. But remember what came out 4 years before that.
Yeah, I could see why they would make their own
And we're talking,
Vampire.
yeah,
Oh Lord.
this was made because all of the other vampire games are dead, and we're left with fifth edition, and
Well,
we're
no,
gonna make it
think
our
about it
own.
Yeah.
like this. The main thing that interested Brazilians probably to the setting is that Brazil was a big battleground with the Sabbat. Like the Camarilla were very much on the back foot. They had cities, but for the most part, I think it was Sao Paulo, Sabbat, Brasilia, Sabbat, or at the very least run by a very corrupt Nosferatu family, if I recall. Rio de Janeiro was like the only Camarilla location, I think. And then you had all the weird stuff that happened in the Amazon. Rage Across the Amazon, for example, took place there. We actually talked a little bit about that when we went through Samuel Hate's Wild Ride, which is one of our streams. It's our longest one.
Wait, really?
I think it's one of our longest ones just because
It's one of our
Samuel.
longest flat out, yeah, because it's a just a absolutely wild story.
But yeah,
There's
that
so
stuff
much
got
going on
thrown
with
out the
Sam.
window. Mechanically, I don't know if they had any issues with the mechanics because there are besides lore, there are mechanistic reasons to not necessarily like 5th edition Vampire. For example, the way they handle Banes, somewhat uneven depending on what clan you're picking. They're either too light or too severe, which Let's be fair, that was an issue with previous clans. Looking at you, clan, I have kleptomania. But
But
it's an issue. It was an issue. Things got changed, and this was probably made because they didn't like the appeal. And let's be blunt, the takes on the takes that they had with the stuff that they made doesn't really resonate well in Latin America. While Brazil is not
It's
necessarily the country with the most machismo, that goes to Mexico. Look at their domestic violence rating. Yeah, yeah, Swedish LARPers probably wouldn't really understand the market that well.
the the other thing, though, this company that is making this game, which if you want to buy this, it's licensed under Mind's Vision, at least for English markets. They've
I
got
did
their own
find
stuff
a
for like
website that also had it available in the description of the stream, so you can give that a look. It's called Vampire Alone in the Darkness. You should be able to get your hands on it. It's pretty quick and pretty breezy. This is probably going to be a somewhat shortish stream, depending on how this goes.
the other thing is they're making or versions for Werewolf and for Mage following this same formula.
Oh, is this just recently announced? Or relatively recently?
Yes.
I can tell you why. There are two reasons why. First, it's because, well, Renegade Studios is shitting the bed. They shat the bed with Werewolf, and they're going to shit the bed with Mage when they inevitably get their hands on it. It's going to be Sorcerer. I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you right now. It's probably going to be Sorcerer-like. And then you have the people in Onyx Path who, quite a few people didn't really like Curseborn. Something involving the system or how the setting works. It didn't really appeal. It didn't really appeal to some pretty strong core audience elements. So there's kind of an opening there if you're clever and you know what you're doing, especially in Brazil. Come on, don't you want to play the old man who turns into a flesh-eating monster that's either part wolf or part anteater? Don't you want to be Cabo Lobo? Don't you want to play if you're wondering, the thumbnail that I used for this is actually allegedly this was a lady from like the 1880s who was accused of being a vampire in real life. And there's rumors that she's still around somewhere. And occasionally you just find her as like a doppelganger effect. It's kind of like Keanu Reeves, but in the opposite way. For Keanu Reeves is immortal, this chick just occasionally appears, even though she allegedly died of cholera.
But let's go on and actually see this game and the mechanics, I guess how Brazil does its RPGs.
Well, it's a sample of how they would do their RPGs. There's other examples, and this one might actually be quite tame.
So now that we brought up the Espirito Santo, in the special dedication, they literally say shouting out the Espirito Santo RPG groups, probably because they're being hunted down like the Inquisition there.
Also, on top of that, the first thing they thank is God. This is very Brazilian.
Yes.
Also, they give credit to a bunch of channels. I am not familiar with them because I do not speak Brazilian Portuguese, but they have given thanks to channels like Dados de Danos and Coisinha Verde, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm gonna butcher this language. I apologize.
The problem with me is because I've learned Spanish. I read it like it's Spanish, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate for the Brazilians I know because I just butcher their language.
I'm sorry. I learned a little too much Spanish, so I'm gonna botch it.
The H is supposed to be silent.
Oh, Cocina
No,
Verde.
no. In Spanish,
Oh,
it's
it
supposed
is
to be
pronounced
silent.
in Port. So I said it right. Oh, wow.
No. I forget what the H sound is, but no, in Spanish, it would be silent.
I mean, yeah, Ache is silent.
Yeah. Actually, I do like here though with the other support. It's that despite again shared language, the game there is spreading to Portugal. There is a bit of a distance,
Well, yeah. Well, it's not
which may,
exactly the most easy dialect to understand between each other. Uh, Portuguese is a very good dialect to understand Brazilian with. Womp, womp, womp.
Which makes me wonder if there's now an Angolan RPG community.
That's actually a good question.
I would love to see the Angolan RPG community.
I mean, there definitely are games, even in Brazil, that focus on like Afro influences. So no doubt that there are in
I
Africa.
want to
It's just
see what the LARP community is like in Luanda. Can we have the Luandan RPG scene? If there is anyone from Angola, Mozambique, or the former territory of Goa or Macau, can you please tell us? Oh, and East Timor. They also had East Timor, or Cape Verde. Could you tell us what the LARP scene is like if you're from these far-flung remnants of the Portuguese Empire? I'd be very curious. So, we're gonna open with "Die to Live."
I remember that night as if it were yesterday, even though more than 300 years have passed. After all, the day you die is not an ordinary day, right? I was riding to the lands of my father, Count Karnstein. If it was anything else, Games Workshop would sue us.
We had to add an N, and it's Styria, not Sylvania. Although Styria is a
If
real region, it's a real
yeah,
region in, I believe, northern Slovenia.
no, it's
No,
saying it's
that's
part of
Carinthia.
Austria.
That's Carinthia. I'm dumb. Styria is in Austria. Yeah.
Say,
Carinthia is I was confusing it with Carinthia, which was kind of part of it too.
basically, like I say, I was so happy with the time I've spent with Alana, this young laundress with uh, sweet lips, skin of stunning whiteness, and golden hair.
Fun fact, one of the biggest concerns that the entertainment industry has whenever they hire South American artists is they essentially have to try to compromise with them whenever they design women because South Americans will refuse to draw an ugly woman. It's not something that they're capable of doing.
Well, of course, there aren't any ugly women in Brazil.
It's just whenever they hire them for Fiverr projects or just whatever, like it is no, 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 no can do. It's just it won't happen. It won't go. No va. I know that's a different language, but it does not go.
But let's see. This guy ends up getting uh, attacked, and uh, neck didn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, he stopped existing and then he came back because he's animated by a soulless demon monster,
The night
essentially.
the young Camarilla died to be reborn, thanks to the taint of darkness that has kept me alive for centuries. I am a slave to its biddings and its hunger, struggling night after night to keep myself in control of my body.
Oh, I just realized yeah, this is a big love
Oh,
letter to
I
Carmilla.
thought
I'm a
this was a
dummy.
man. I thought this was a man. It's Camarilla.
It's Carmilla, which was the inspiration for
Carmilla. Yeah.
Dracula.
Oh, so this was a lesbian story.
There was an element of that, yes.
It wouldn't be a White Wolf styled RPG without homosexuality.
You know, that actually leads me to one of the weirdest things that I can talk about regarding White Wolf. So, here's an interestingly weird kind of schizophrenic theory. Why do they make the very obvious gay couples and vampire dysfunctional abominations that cause massive damage to society, life, and millions of death?
Because they do that for the straight couples as well, because you're vampires.
Yes and no, but the most egregious examples, which include whatever the hell Tremere is, the triad that led Constantinople, the triad that led Carthage, and more. Because remember, one of the things that happened to Sasha Vikos was something involving that multiple times. What did White Wolf mean by this? What
They're big fans of bad
stu-
yaoi.
no, stunning and brave. We made all of our we made all of our homosexual relationships culminate in mass casualties. Fantastic. Conversely,
Moving
one of
on
the
then.
more interesting examples of a straight couple, they just chose to walk into the sun and die because that was one of the results of the second embrace. What did they mean
Huh?
by this? I'm kidding. I'm
So,
joshing.
Vampire Alone in the Darkness, you play as somebody who, after their death, is possessed by the Strix. Oh, sorry, Shadow Demon, who brought them back to life, transforming them into a mythical vampire and granting them incredible powers of darkness.
This is actually one of the interpretations for how vampires actually form anyway. So,
Eh.
not out
But
of
at the
the...
cost of this, you cry out for the blood of mortals, and at any sign of weakness, the beast will take over your actions and will carry it out without any consequence. You may even keep your humanity for decades, maybe even centuries, but eventually you will lose that and become a Draugr.
maybe.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
kidding, but this is their own version of World of Darkness.
I mean, vampire mythology is pretty lock and key. Like, it's pretty set. You don't usually diverge from what works.
But what if instead you had vampires that can walk in the daylight and they have to go to sleep at wait, there's just humans with the blood. What am I thinking?
That's just a serial killer, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a serial killer.
I mean, you could do. There's a vampire book I remember reading where the big gimmick is, you know, the vampire. You know how a vampire is the walking corpse? No, it's not the corpse. It's actually essentially sentient blood. It's an animate pile of blood that puppeteers the corpse.
Oh, that's fun. But they come out of the gate in this game with three ways to play. Solo. You create a vampire or more and interact with scenarios. There are predefined tables with dice rolls to give you scenes.
Oh,
The
is
second,
no. This reminds me. There's a game that does this. I forget the name of it. It's designed for solo play where you just kind of do it to pass the time. What's
there
the
there are a bunch.
Well, no. It's one specifically where you're like the thrall of a vampire or something.
Well, I know there's Thousand Year Vampire, but
Yeah, that might be
that's more
what I
of a
was
game
thinking
book.
of.
Second way, and this is the one I think hints at the LARPing origins. You or one or more friends will generate everything that they need
With
without needing
the
a
need for
storyteller.
Oh, I've never been a
Because
fan
again,
of LARPs.
it it is, but I like that they present it this way rather than let's say it's GM-less.
Well, they say without a need of a storyteller, which tells you really where they were thinking too. That doesn't help.
The other thing, you can walk together separately through a scenario, describing the playing chapters and sorting out the results. I do like table. Smiley face equals number of players. In the table, this symbol represents the number of players.
All right. I don't know
And
what.
then
Okay.
and then finally, mediator, which is traditional game master storyteller.
I tend to find these to be the most effective style of play because even with a LARP, you still need some form of referee because otherwise they'll just cheat. Look, you can trust your players usually pretty well, and if you're just kind of socializing like that, it usually is fine. But if you're bringing in anyone new, you know that inevitably
Yeah,
you're going to find someone that's just going to try to cheat or game the system.
yeah.
The entire point of having a storyteller, GM, master of ceremonies, as powered by the apocalypse would say, the whole point is they're supposed to play ref. You're the umpire. You're the guy who sees if they're trying to cheat. You're the guy who tries to see if they're deciding to dust the ball in mud or spitting something onto it before they, throw it.
I think that's what. If you're getting a group together, you're all agreeing on what you want to do. And I think going through this, they do set up guidelines for the GM-less play,
Well, it's fair. I've never been much of. I've just always
but
been a bit
it,
skeptical of the
I
system
guess the difference
working.
is it doesn't. From just reading this, it doesn't set it up as that the GM's a hindrance. It's just an alternative style of play.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
So what you need at least two 10-sided dice.
At least two. Ideally in different colors. These dice are easily found on bookstores that sell RPGs, game stores, or on the internet. Not if you're in Japan, boy. Why do you think they use D6 dice pools? I'm very curious on what the Luanda LARP community would use for dice instead.
I don't.
Do they use knuckle bones?
In Luanda, no, they probably would have access to modern medis. Elsewhere in Angola, because of the shit fucking transit system. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm just envisioning because like even in Luanda, I don't think you'd get your hands easily on a pair of D10s. I'm sorry, I just
Oh,
D6 is sure. Wooden. They have to make their own wooden dice. Fair enough.
could we? So description of the world. So it's similar to our world, except for the presence of vampires and other creatures of the darkness, but no direct relation to the great events of the world. Congratulations. You've entirely skipped the idea of vampire Himmler being involved in the Holocaust.
So what they're trying to do is having their cake and eating it too, because this is a splice of two things. The World of Darkness was called that specifically because when Vampire was first written, the world that it took place in was essentially our world, but a little bit darker, a little bit more grim. So instead of, you know how there's always rumors and it's very rare, but you don't usually get snuff films because it's usually just an internet rumor or just like something you hear. In the World of Darkness, no, you can easily go to like the sleazy parlor and actually participate as an actor in one of them.
More likely, you can find one, not
Yeah,
necessarily participate.
you get what I mean though. It's always a little bit worse. Gangs are usually a little more violent, have a little more equipment, law's a little more corrupt, looks the other way.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. It's just things are a little bit shittier. And what they're
In
doing is
this,
they're combining it with the Chronicles of Darkness, where they essentially wanted to cut out vampires ruling the world because this was a big problem in the World of Darkness. The state of Germany was founded by the ambitions of a single Ventru who was very, very fucking angry that a Toreador called his painting shit. He created Germany as one big weapon to destroy France,
I
just to
mean,
get revenge.
I think Germans
I
would
want to know,
accept
this
that.
man decided to unify Germany just because he hated the French. Honestly, I get it.
But
I
do you
understand it.
understand? Here's another dumb example. Do you want to know why New Orleans exists?
This is one of the stupidest ones.
Aventru was inspired in the wreckage of Carthage. He watched Carthage burn. He was told why Carthage had to burn. This is Aventru, by the way. This is not a Bruja. And he said, I want to build a new Carthage. So, like good baseball dads, he passed his ambition onto his child, likely through something very traumatic, and the child built New Orleans in the likeness of Carthage. What did they mean by this? Because here's an interesting fact about, well, Nola's gang issues that were a thing. The criminal elements in New Orleans were horrible up until Hurricane Katrina. It's still bad, but it was way worse in like the 90s and 2000s. Just holy crap. What did you mean by this, White Wolf?
But in
Well,
this
they didn't
setting,
mean anything.
yeah, in this setting, basically vampires. As soon as you're turned a vampire, you realize, yeah, I don't care much for mortal society anymore. It's lame, and boring.
I mean, there's also that whole, well, everyone I know is going to just, go into the ground in a few decades, which is nothing to me.
It seems instantaneously though. But you'll get one or two in small cities, but they'll mostly be in larger cities. They'll join groups called legions, working together for their own sake and watch under the watch of relatively older and more powerful vampires. But some of them do abuse the mortal's ignorance and get out of control, and that requires the restoration of order through violence.
Because inevitably violence must occur.
Legions are often led by a powerful vampire, travel a lot, in some cases as a nomadic, as being artistic troops, RV convoys, or ship crews.
Which that's a reference to what is it, 30 Days of Night, I think, the ship crew.
Third is I don't know if they were ship. Maybe in the comics they were,
Might have been. I do remember it involved cargo from a ship.
but of course there are humans, discredited groups, who do know about the vampires that prowl in the shadows and try to murder them.
I'm just envisioning Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like his eyes are bugged out. This is the Pepe Sylvia board. It's a murder mall. It's the murder map.
You don't
Vampires are real.
understand. You don't understand.
You
Germany
understand?
was not created by the Prussians. It was not created because of Napoleon wiping out the Holy Roman Empire. It was actually created hundreds of years ago at the behest of one vampire who was pissed off that another vampire in France hated him.
And then he starts insanely
No.
rambling about. By the way, this is totally viable. Have you seen the Louvre? I hate the Louvre. We should nuke the Louvre. Can we use the Eiffel Tower to just melt all the steel into the Louvre to burn all the paintings?
And don't forget that God exists but doesn't exist because there's three entities that actually control the entire world, and one's being kidnapped by the other one and being tortured, and the other one's just a crazed, cancerous cell of creation. It's all real.
Listen,
And the demons are coming in the 1990s.
You know, it's funny. People complain about 5th edition, but I think Demon the Fallen did as much damage as things like V20th and V5.
And the devil
I
is
don't like the Fallen at all.
And the devil escaped his prison.
don't
The devil
worry
was in the
about
prison
it.
because he gave us magic.
I've got a physical copy of Demon. It's still terrible.
You see that homeless woman over there with 2 kids? She's a demon.
Now,
Well,
I will say this. They do have a little bit of a different thing about it, where it's basically demons have grabbed people that were supposed to die, and, the soul's gone. They just grab them, they just get in that body like it's a big flush puppet.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
And
the
you
core
now
book,
have to
the core
you now
book
have to
of
live a
Demon was
mortal
the
life.
best of it, from what I understand, because the supporting books were ass.
I have not had the displeasure of reading any of the supporting books.
I only know about this because occasionally there's a person that shows up here, Gallard Group, who has their own channel.
Yes.
They had to throw all of their demons. They had to throw all their demon episodes out because they read it and there was nothing to work with.
You can't really mock it. It's just there.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about Demon the Fallen. Demon the Fallen is a game that it exists. That's about all anybody can say
It exists,
about
and
it.
its sole purpose.
It exists.
Its sole purpose is to essentially take a big steaming squat all over the meta plot. Yeah, that thing that you're angry about because of 5th, Demon did it first, technically.
No, Demon's meta plot is effectively, I guess, the apocalypse is happening, guys, which is something that every other meta plot has been talking about.
But the
Since
Splat
the start of the game
also
though.
forced so many retcons of demonic characters that they wrote before.
Yes, which is a part of the problem with it. But at the same time, Werewolf was kind of a giant retcon of what had been portrayed before for werewolves in World of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You also had a few other bits with like mage and whatnot. Like, in any case,
don't forget the mummies are the good guys now.
No, the mummies are always sort of the good guys.
Osiris exists. He's a god, but not a god.
Now that's one of the weirder things. They had a mummy first edition book because
they had a. All right,
first
so they had.
Book. Well, that's the insane. Let's continue on with the
mummy.
insanity.
No, I'm gonna. I need to explain mummy to you because mummy is a weird case. So you have really 3 editions of Mummy. You have a pair of splat books, and then you have the last one, which is the actual Mummy the Resurrection, which is terrible. I have the actual physical copy of it.
Not only is it terrible, but it 180s the previous 2 splat books.
It not only basically chucks most of what it doesn't chuck everything out, but it chucks most of it out and goes for more of a meta plot because that's the general World of Darkness. Before then, Mummies are sort of kind of vibing.
Well, not only vibing, but they're immortal warriors that basically can't die.
Sort of. They're immortal. They're immortal beings that can't die, and they're more there as like a contrast to how the immortality of a vampire works compared to these guys. Because mummies aren't exactly always happy with their lot either, but they're still there. Like one of the descriptions I've heard about it, and I agree with this as like a way to describe it, is it's sort of like there's a Sandman comic where Death meets a guy at a pub like every 100 years or so. And basically, Death keeps asking, well, you ready to die yet? And the guy's sort of like, no. It's there's still more to see. And that's sort of the idea behind Mummy in a way, like really early on, is it's that guy. But there's not really a lot to work with in those early editions of Mummy compared to what comes later. And what comes later is sort of this gigantic, well, it kind of goes from these are these weird immortal beings that are mummies but not, that are whatever, to here's a meta plot about maybe the worm destroying the world and you're fighting it and you're a soldier of basically fate. Also, fuck Set.
Yeah.
All my homies hate Set.
I mean, fair enough. In Old World of Darkness, he's a bit of a dick. But you start to see where the problem is with that, and that's the game line I'm the most like. Okay, actually, what the fuck? When you look at it, like it's not in line with anything. Demon is more in line with the rest of the World of Darkness than Mummy, honestly. Anyway,
Anyway,
back to
so
this shit pile.
Back to Van Helsing. It's not shit.
yeah,
It's
it's not shit.
existing so far. We have to at
But
least give a try before we
yeah,
call it
Van
shit.
Van Helsing exists. He killed the most powerful vampire of the Vera Lakos caste, the bloody Voivode Vlad Tepish.
Also known as Dracula. So the story of
And
this
it
hunt
was
has been romanticized by the writer Bram Stoker.
based on reports of those involved in the bloodbath. But much of it's true, especially the final fight between Van Helsing and Dracula.
Wait, does that mean Dracula is actually hideous and ugly? Because in the book, he wasn't a good looker. He actually looked horrible and horrifying.
Why do you think they sued to keep Count Orlok from showing up?
And apparently from Alestil 006. In Brazil, most of the mummies have successfully ran for public office. Scary shit. No, that's just in real life in general. We have animate corpses just, running. Some of them are vampires, some of them are mummy. We don't know, man.
I mean, no, this is
I imagine if
how
you
do I
sprayed
put
some of them
this?
with water bottles, they'd instantly start rotting. I'm
Dom
sorry.
Pedro II's still out there.
I was gonna go with like a more deep cut of it's like, no, you don't understand. There's some ancient Brazilian tribe that has a mummy that was created by like the Inca from way back in the day that's still sticking around and like just hanging out in the Amazon, like going on like, what the fuck is this shit?
That's not a bad idea. The problem is that mummies aren't really common because of the humidity. It's kind of a thing we
Well,
don't
you
see.
know what I mean. Like they have rules for the Atacama desert mummies. They're
Yeah,
different.
but that's Spanish speaking and Quechua more than any other. Quechua, Chichan, it's different stuff.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like that'd be an interesting one.
But so, they have enough. So while these people have a number of means to take out the vampires, vampires tend to isolate themselves and try to feed on animals and mortals who live in remote places.
Yeah, unlike the World of Darkness, you don't have to worry about, well, why don't you leave the city? Because we made a bunch of railroady werewolves to kill you if you try to leave the city. And this, you're just kind of trying to vibe with existence while preventing a vampire hunter from kicking down your door and killing you.
I
So,
mean, that's just normal vampire.
also Dom Pedro II, Pedrino Hammerhands, for those close to him, was a bruja. Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows it.
Did he once punch a fat man so hard he died?
Also, apparently holds saying that they did have a vampire president for a while, but now they have a Mordecai and Voldemort's love child in the Supreme Court.
That sounds about right for Brazil.
I'm sorry, that guy. Yeah, that guy in the Supreme Court. Did someone just give him hair transplants or something like that?
He looks like the
I'm
sort
sorry.
of man. He looks like the sort of man who would strangle a baby to live longer.
At this point, why doesn't he just go into court wearing a hood?
I'm saying he looks like. I'm not saying he is, by the way. So don't take that as me accusing him of,
Don't
baby
ban us,
strangling.
Brazil. But so we have legions, and the legions are ruled by tribunos, the most powerful vampire of each caste.
Okay.
Any vampire can openly question the decrees that they have in their society, or even the power of a tribune, through a simple ritual called the Blood Challenge, which consists of a duel between the victim and the offender, until one of the parties surrenders or dies in the process.
That's
I
actually
guess they
kind of.
forgot that.
It's
Yeah,
not bad
I guess.
for like a little setup.
Yeah, a vampire feels offended by another or simply does not agree with may invoke this personal challenge, requiring retraction for some crime or even for the slight transgression. And they have two choices, which is to accept the challenge, or abdicate it through a request for forgiveness that is always accompanied by the mark of shame, a scar in a visible place caused by fire, to mark the vampire by the time needed for their supernatural physiology to heal.
Okay. I mean, there's at least bare. This is a little bare bones in my opinion, but you can kind of work off of this.
And you can remove a tribune, but only vampires of the same caste can demand this challenge, which must be accompanied by a reason and at least two witnesses.
Oh, so vampires operate on Sharia law. And actually, I think rabbinical law too, to a degree, because of the
Yeah.
requirement of witnesses.
Oh no.
You're not escaping the accusations.
That's how. That would be fucking up, though. A
Now,
vampire survives
all
by
right,
being a moil.
hold on by a second. The witnesses thing is a pretty common thing in a lot of ancient law codes.
Well, yeah, I'm
Because
just taking the piss.
it is. Because it's like, well,
It
how
was
do
in
you prove this?
Hammurabi. It was in Hammurabi's Codex. The Greeks operated on something like Romans as well.
I mean,
There's
I mean,
witnesses.
You've got to
Even
have
the
we
somebody
do
there
that.
to see
the
it.
We do that.
the barbarian peoples, like the early Germanic peoples, did it.
We do that today. What
Yeah,
the hell are witnesses for?
their value is a
But
bit
finally,
iffy, but they still provide some value. That's
No,
why
I
we
mean
still
like
keep
what's
them.
a public notary? That's more akin to what that is.
yeah.
Because it's basically that, yep, there has been an offense. I've declared that there's offense. There's witnesses. We have the trial, and the trial has witnesses. So I can't just often kill them.
So instead of ghouls, you have what are called servants, mortals who know of the existence of vampires and choose to serve them for a variety of reasons. Some accept servitude because of promises to be turned into a monster. Others are interested by power, money, love, delusions, that sort of thing. But beware, for many vampires, the slip of the servants must be answered by their master with severity, as signs of weakness towards incompetent lackeys are seen as a threat to vampiric existence and a great offense that in extreme cases can bring down the fury of powerful shadow demons. So there are demons that constantly watch you that will destroy you if you're not Dracula maxing.
Well, I mean, because that's what you are.
Hey, I mean, you're a Dracula. You got to do that.
You're not human anymore. Give up the humanity.
So here's how the character creation system works. You create a human character to later transform them into a vampire by adding benefits and weaknesses of the chosen cast. And here's the steps. Allocate
So
4, 3, and 2 in attributes.
you calculate your health, posture, and will based on body, spirit, and mind. Choose from 2 of the available skills. Each skill grants +2 in the relevant attributes. Then you add the merits and weaknesses of the vampire powers and of the chosen cast.
By the way, Private Penguin is realizing right now that the Strix are a thing in this setting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the shadow demons are. This is
Yes, the
a
shadow
fusion.
demons.
This is a
I mean, they're
fusion
not
of
owls.
This is a fusion, I think.
Oh, very much, because they don't have the blood thickening.
The blood potency?
Blood potency
They
would
don't have.
be maybe a little too much for them to put for this
Yeah.
system.
So, body, strong, agile, resilient, physical. Spirit, charisma, manipulation, appearance. Mind, intelligence, reasoning, determination. If you know World of Darkness, you know what this is. But I do like, though, they drop then. The thing is just 1 is 4, 1 is 3, 1 is 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what character creation already was anyway. They just cut out most of it.
Then health, 5 plus body, posture, 5 plus spirit. And then they bring up with posture that if your posture is greater than the spirit of a character whom you want to interact with, you are dominant over them. If it's equal to, you're neutral. And if your posture is less, you are dominated.
Oh, they borrowed the thing that was like the
Oh
biggest
no.
fucking problem from Requiem. God damn it.
I mean,
I think this makes more sense if we're going with a bit of a LARP or maybe a short-term thing,
yeah.
just instantly to
Sure,
know
but
what your
What's
level
your
is.
pecking order?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's
in
quick
your
for
pecking.
that, but it's basically the Predator's aura, and that was thrown out for a
There,
reason.
Yeah, they chucked it out because they're like, it's really stupid to have like a neonate basically frenzy anytime they meet an elder.
Also, if any of these skills drop as 0, you're not dead. You're just unconscious or demotivated or discouraged.
You have entered Hirano. I am fed up with this world.
Health though, mortals recover 1 health per day. Vampires heal differently, and also get taken by the shadow demon when unconscious.
Oh,
You're going to the Shadow Realm, Dracula. No.
Spending will allows you to
well, now it looks
reroll,
like you're going to the Shadow Realm now, Jimbo.
and so will
I'm
is
just envisioning a
D10
Shadow
reroll.
Demon that's just Hugh Neutron, but like painted Vanta black. With his army of flying monstrous shadow ducks.
Endless pie. Endless pie.
Endless pie.
And the pie is an allegory for blood.
So then you get your available skills.
from,
Arts.
from Haltz gets taken by the Shadow Demon. Off to Brazil with you. Wait, you're already in Brazil.
They send you to Brazil.
They send you to Acre. They send you to Acre, which
I
doesn't
was gonna say
exist.
Dark Brazil.
Yeah, Acre.
They
If
send
you're
you to
wondering,
High Brazil.
no, you don't understand. Acre is essentially, if you've ever played Don't Rest Your Head, or if you've ever read Don't Rest Your Head, you are in the 13th hour when you're in that province. The hour that does not exist. The hour that struck and doomed Kazvar. That is what Acre is. Ah, man.
So what's interesting they have here, all skills can be added with attributes. So if you have melee fighting, body, it's obviously physical fisticuffs.
Oh, misspell.
Spirit,
So for those of you, so if you want to make a new edition, you might want to fix it because Julius meal fighting. It
uh,
happens.
yeah, it's fine. Spirit, you demonstrate your technique to such a superior level that you lower your enemy's morale. And mind, when combined with melee fighting, means you evaluate the combat technique of your adversary, which gives you an advantage on the next roll. So I like that. Technically, you could use. I don't know how you would use physical with arts. I guess maybe dance.
You no. If you've ever seen the torture dance from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
Uh,
the torture dance scene, like you do that to style on and commit emotional damage and physical to your enemies.
so you get arts, athletics, ranged fighting, melee fighting, spell the same way. Um, driving, knowledge, languages.
These are the most used skills in Vampire.
You master. What I like with the languages though, you master the most common languages. In addition to being expert at different codes, so you get to choose 5 languages that you know. And then I gotta wonder, physical with languages, is that just identifying like body language?
So when you inevitably make your Jewish vampire in this game, they're gonna probably know Ge'ez. They're probably going to know Yiddish. They're gonna know Ladino, Hebrew,
Well, it's
and probably Arabic just to translate.
also probably Aramaic. I mean, depending on
And
how old the
Aramaic.
vampire is. But let's see, investigation, manipulation, survival, subterfuge, and technology.
These are very commonly used skills in Vampire. Like these are, if I had
Oh,
to chart which ones are most often picked by players, it would be these ones.
but what I do like here, all this part is what the human was. Now you add the vampire.
Which
So it's like
actually, that's a
it,
common way you played. That's a common way you played Chronicles of Darkness as well, because a very common way to start it is as a Mortals campaign.
so as soon as the body is animated by Shadow Demon, it is brought into an undead existence. They soon realize that their basic characteristics have sharpened, and they have some changes. Breathing is no longer a need. Uh, no matter how much of the memories of the past end up inducing their lungs to continue to work. Also, Halt. Attention Yiddish. In Brazil, do not confuse oy vey with oy vey. I'm pretty sure I just said something offensive.
You probably did. Don't worry. It's probably fine.
The digestive system, though, continues to function, but they'll never be satisfied.
Wait a minute. Okay, second. How the fuck does the digestive system continue to function?
Anaerobic respiration.
It's probably more for the fact that your body will digest, but it'll all, I'm guessing by this case they'll all just piss and shit more frequently.
Oh god, is this Shrew People 2.0? Is this Wraithathu 2.0? Are they Shrew People?
Well, I mean, if they can't eat, either they become fat.
Like that's the thing. So
Well, it's actually no, it wouldn't be stored as fat.
it can't be stored as fat because that process isn't working.
It just runs through you.
Right. So they're just constantly leaking blood.
No, I think you're right. They must, or they're shitting out undigested
How does
pizzas.
this work?
Basically, I mean, basically what this is it works as in you can eat and drink, but unlike in Vampire the Masquerade, you don't vomit.
So maybe this was an attempt to get the really fat vampire from Blade?
All I can think about now is that this is some weird feeding fetish thing. Because
It might be. We don't know.
I don't like this.
Fucking
I really don't.
I don't
Amber
like
w-
the direction this is going.
No, this explains Nikocado Avocado's change.
Oh, he became a vampire.
He went from fat to thin because he became a vampire, and he could still eat, but it just never satisfies them.
That makes a lot more sense. Do you think the Shadow Demon gives him takeout for his mukbangs? Like you just see like his shadow ominously flickering in the background, and that's just, all of a sudden there's like 5 bags of Taco Bell right there for him to eat.
Yes, Master Doritos Locos. But then we'll get to the main the 5 main vampiric casts.
Well, also all their teeth become pointed and very sharp. They don't have the fangs. You basically have needle teeth or sharp teeth.
Oh, that's interesting. But this
So-
manifests when feeding only.
Okay.
So instead of a instead of two puncture, it looks probably more like an animal bite.
Yeah, that's one way you can do it.
That's not really, because it would still have the human bite profile.
Yeah, but what humans have all razor sharp teeth? It's
People
probably a
who
wild
file
animal.
their teeth down, there are people that do that.
But
Hey, NDR is saying Nico's Shadow Demon's just a sentient tapeworm, which, funnily enough, that is one of the vampire types you can run into in.
Actually,
no, it's
that's a good question. Well, how would fucking parasites work in this body? Because if they're not digesting anything,
they die.
No, like that's the weird thing, but they're not digesting.
They probably
Does this
do
mean
fine.
that those things are like full? Yeah, like if you're a tapeworm in this guy, as long as they're pretending to eat still,
You're vibing.
yeah, you're just vibing.
South Bronx parasite, baby.
Well, I was thinking because I forget. Oh man, was it Legion of the Damned? It was a really good vampire the Requiem book it was a night horrors book, which gave you different vampire ideas.
Yes, the one with the worms that walked.
Yeah.
That was Strange Dead. That was the first one that we covered, like way back when. That one is the same one that had like.
It's one of the better books, but since it gave you neat ideas.
So
it had so many really good ideas. That's the one that gave us the vampiric parasite.
Yeah. So the 5 casts are as
Tapeworms.
follows.
What about maggots? You're dead. Well, they'll be fine too.
That's actually another good question. Like, so does this mean that these vampires are like just living infestations of parasites? Because
well, remember they have that supernatural healing ability.
Yeah, but that just means that they get to eat all they want.
Could be an interesting way.
I don't want to know about the screw worms that are definitely living in these vampires.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget the borer beetles that crawl out of their mouths like fucking the Mummy Returns.
Using the screw worm as like
no, think about it. Like
wrap around a victim.
No, think about it. Open your mouth, a swarm of bugs fly out like Imhotep.
Oh, damn. But let's get to the cast. So the first one, Adze.
Which is an actual vampire bloodline, by the way, in Dark Ages.
Powerful and harmful demons from Africa who spread dangerous illnesses to their victims.
It's based on a spirit that was commonly used in a variety of West African tribes. That it was specifically for malaria. Like, this was one of their explanations for malaria.
Gaki, deadly demons from the east, especially Japan. They are silent and cold as death.
This is a Nosferatu bloodline from Vampire the Requiem.
Ghoul.
Oh, the Brickmen are different.
Yeah, monstrous demons who corrupt everything that approaches them.
This was also a thing we covered, but I like the usage of ghouls here.
Lilitu, sensual and beautiful demons who tempt their victims and devour them in the midst of lust.
Okay,
Deva,
so it's just Deva again.
And the Viralakos, warlike and powerful demons whose hatred and the will to kill runs through their veins. The Von Karsteins.
Von Karsteins, or alternatively, the Strigoi.
By the way, they
Strigoi
forgot they have an extra cast that they mentioned in this.
Oh yeah, they did. The young.
No, these are just...
No. Oh, that's the age.
Because take a look through this. Because they forgot something. There's not 5 casts because they detail 6.
These are the main, but there are several others spread in lesser quantities. Bloodline.
Yes, but then they detail another one in 6, which is just like, then, but why?
I don't see the 6th, but
you don't see the fucking.
We'll scroll on to see if they made a mistake here.
It might have been a mistake.
So obviously, you start out as young. If you collect 100 experience points, you're considered an adult. 300 elder.
To find out how the experience system works and how to make your vampire more powerful as time goes on, see the evolving chapter.
But before that, the Adze. Originating in southern regions of Togo and Ghana, the Yu people named these sinister creatures Adze. They're blood-sucking interact with blood-sucking insects and spread disease. And some of them even turn into large swarms of insects.
So they have a special taste for the blood of the innocent. They are hunters of children and young people, and likely to especially to feed on babies. And they prefer to pick those who already were greedy.
So their main emotion, they take our people who were capricious or envious in life. Weakness. Whenever they go without feeding on their favorite prey, or someone else ignores their will, you must do a spirit survival test. In the case of failure, the demon possesses the body and decides to resolve the situation in the less violent way possible.
Okay.
And if you become a victim of an Adze attack, then you'll contract a powerful disease that will kill them in 5 days, unless properly treated.
Also, their preferred prey is on young people or children.
Everyone else only satisfy them for a few hours. But attribute bonus. You'll get a +1 to body and spirit, and you get 3 powers from essentially your disciplines.
You think this might have been based on the Bali, because the Bali had in their clan book, they had a strong insect theme.
Very much so, but it also it's an African theme.
That. Here you go.
No,
remember when I was talking about how they've got 6 detailed? I think they forgot one of the casts, or they were going to remove this one, and didn't.
Interesting.
So,
or maybe they're just covering all the other ones, because they said there were at least a couple.
It could be, yeah. The Batai or the Baital are first recorded in India.
Okay.
They used their hunger for knowledge to amass a great wisdom in their centuries of life.
I'm surprised they didn't use the legend of the Pishasha for this one instead, but this'll work.
Many of these vampires thought they were sent from the Trimurti, the trinity representing Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu.
The three, not most important, but the 3 major deities in Hinduistic pantheons.
Yeah. So they were basically controlling these villages, but as India industrialized, they left the pastoral past behind.
Well, it also doesn't help that the Baital crave knowledge as well.
Yep. So they take over people who were mysterious or deceitful in life. Weakness. They cannot resist riddles, secrets, or mysteries, being completely absorbed until they discover the truth. So I guess they're autistic?
The best way to describe them is the Riddler. The Riddler. The Riddler when Batman defeated his unsolvable puzzle, and he's just screaming into Arkham, needing to know how he did it. That's a
That-
Baital.
So their favorite prey, funny enough, animals, with a weight equivalent to them.
It's probably based
Way to
on
give
the
them two
legend
there.
that they're from, yeah.
Yeah. Um, then they receive a +1 to spirit and mind, and they get their 3 powers.
I will say I do like the art that they're using for this. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah. What I do like is that they're combining both a lot more of the Requiem stuff of like vampires coming from specific cultural origins.
Oh no, that was Masquerade. That was Masquerade way, way more than
Masquerade,
Requiem.
but technically it all had to be tied in with Abrahamic.
Kinda yeah, kinda nah. They interpreted it differently as they went along.
But then we have the Gaki, originating in Japan, very pale skin, deep eyes, denoting their connection with death. I think these are basically your equation.
Equation slash hungry dead. The term gaki refers specifically to the Japanese concept of the hungry ghost, which is a very popular form
Yeah.
of demon that is in East Asia. China has its own equivalent. It is based on a little bit of Hindu, but mainly Buddhist ways of thinking, like
Hmm.
Mahayana school specifically,
Ah.
alongside older traditional beliefs.
So they easily resent. So any kind of offense taken against them brings out their shadow. As such, they do usually do a lot of blood challenges.
Essentially, these are
So,
like the Crane clan from Legend of the Five Rings. They duel. It's
hmm.
what they do.
The predilection for bodies that were vindictive or treacherous. In addition to their morbid appearance, they have to roll a spirit or manipulation roll, or they're unable to perform any action unrelated to their revenge.
Also, they
Rest of
have to kill their prey while
as this,
feeding.
let's see, at the beginning of the next night will only be if they have to be successful on their spirit manipulation roll.
And yeah, they have to kill. I find it interesting
They're
that they're
unable.
surrounded by undead. I think this is.
It probably is a bit more of a spirit thing, but they get +1 in body and mind. Uh, but then we have the ghoul. They become monstrous. Their appearance
Yes, the
becomes a
eaters of the
revulsion.
dead.
They have the preference for the blood of the dead.
All I can think about is that one image of the anime girl eating a crayon and holding one up, saying like, "I saved the red one for you."
Oh, they also
That's
have. They also tend to have flesh-altering gifts.
that's terrible, but that's like all I can think of is that like I saved you the red one.
So let's see. They have a disadvantage on spirit checks when dealing with people in a positive or neutral way. Uh, However, when they try to intimidate victims, spirits add an advantage.
Essentially, this is your unholy love child between the Nosferatu and the Zimichi.
+1 body and mind. I do find it odd though that they say other victims just satisfy them for more than a few hours.
Basically, because the myth behind the ghoul as a concept is they're eaters of the dead.
Well, that's just all of them. You have to feed on your favorite prey, or only a few, or your other victims only satisfy for a few hours.
It's a soft version of the Bane.
Yeah. But then we have the Lilitu, descended from Lilith, Adam's first woman.
Oh, please tell me
Almost,
they have the mosquito tongue because the original concept of the Lilitu were really, really fucking weird.
let's see, they get peaks of human beauty. Um, so the great power to social relationships. So they um, have a predilection for the bodies of people with desirous or obsessive in life.
They
Um,
also no uggos allowed. Sorry.
yeah. So they can roll mind manipulation when they become desirous for a person and that is not reciprocated. And the
Also,
Shadow Demon takes
yeah.
possession of the body
Also, they need to eat. Their best eating method is just slamming ass while doing it.
during, and you get spirit and mind.
There's like an
Then you have,
off-puttingness to the art which I like. It kind of fits, I
yeah,
think.
like they stand out. It's like
And there's just like something
bit-
off with the faces.
I think fits. And then Vera Lycos, the most warlike, willingly surrendering to combat and fury.
Blood for the blood
So
god, skulls for the skull throne.
they tend to get bestial, sort of their bodies start turning more monstrous with fangs and claws.
Oh, they're the gangrel. Because that's the gangrel bean.
Oh. So their weakness, whenever they have a chance to solve a problem with violence and they hesitate to do it, they must make a spirit survival test. Otherwise, well, they'll try to do things in the most violent way possible. They also can only satisfy their bloodlust if they feed on people they have stricken by fear.
Huh.
They also
Sorry,
get +1 to body and spirit.
sorry, I'm just like, again, there's like this weirdness with the art. Oh, I just know. Let's move on.
What, the skull?
She's very excited to hold a bloody skull.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
No, she's very excited.
Yep. Whatever.
Ah.
Let's go through here and look at the totally not disciplines.
Cloud the mind.
It's terrible.
It's we got dominate at home.
No, wouldn't cloud the mind be obfuscate?
No, erase
No,
memory
because
is that's a dominate skill.
Erase, dominate, mind reading. Yeah.
yeah,
Darkness of the soul, which is the use of shadows. So
this is obfuscate.
Obfuscate
With obtenebration.
Obtenebration, because there's not really well, actually there is.
Manipulate shadows, blending in with shadows.
It's
being
more
able to see perfectly in the
obtenebration
dark.
than yeah.
Libido of the succubus. So this is majesty, but more sex.
Yeah, majesty.
I do like this.
Gooning.
If a vampire manages to reduce the target's posture to 0, then the sexual attraction becomes permanent.
The man who got turned into a simp.
Blind fury and magnetic attraction.
It's a combination of majesty / presence, yeah. Demonic prowess, which is that's potence, celerity, and fortitude.
And all in one. Dominate beasts.
Animalism.
Master of the shroud.
Necromancy. Necromancy, yep, specifically Path of Bones with a little bit of Path of Sepulcher.
Mental torment.
This is dementation.
Yeah.
We got disciplines at home.
Monstrous shape.
This is terrible.
It's functional. I'm not really. This isn't really winning me. Protean.
It's
this is Protean.
Yep. Plague of insects.
This is actually not Daimonian. This is more based
on.
Which
is interesting because technically, aren't they animals? Actually, no. Dominate beasts apparently also take on rational and irrational beings.
This is I forget the name, but there's a unique Bali discipline that they had in Dark Ages where they can control insects. I forget what it's called because I don't care. That book is not one of my favorites. You can turn yourself
into a huge swarm of insects, or just spread a disease.
Ah, yes, my favorite ability, Ebola.
My favorite ability, COVID.
Monkeypox.
Super AIDS.
Swine flu.
The Black Death.
Deli belly.
Dengue fever.
Sciatic nerve pain. Actually, that would be an interesting vampire.
It just says an illness. It just says an illness.
Kawasaki syndrome.
Oh, what's that one illness that makes it so you're unable to sleep?
Skedaddle, skadoodle, you now have fatal familial insomnia.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
I now bestow upon you Jacob's Creutzfeldt disease.
Thalidomide syndrome.
I have now given you Turner syndrome. I removed one of your chromosomes somehow. Don't ask how I did it.
Oh no, that would come in this one. Shape the flesh.
Ah,
Distort the flesh.
vicissitude, my favorite discipline.
Amalgam. Add previously removed parts of other bodies onto a new one, such as limbs, hearts, kidneys, livers, eyes, and a series of other insane combinations.
Using
The
the
target is not.
using the power of dark sorcery, I have managed to create a monkey with 5 asses.
Gentlemen, behold!
What is it?
I have replaced all of the body parts with livers. Even the skin.
Falls apart into slop.
It'll grow back. So,
All in
now,
all, they're very
functional.
mediocre.
Functional, I'd say.
It's playable.
We can tell they're not going very in-depth with character creation. It's playing fast and loose.
They're into the LARP scene. I bet there's
Yeah.
probably mind's eye theater mechanics. Like they probably for those curious who are not into the world of darkness, there's a series of rule books called Mind's Eye Theaters where they explain the common sign language that they used for LARPing, and yeah, that's probably in here.
So, it's attribute plus skill plus d10, and you're trying to roll greater than 10.
Okay.
That's all it is. So unlike Will of the Darkness, where hit a target number, technically the target number is 10, but you combine attribute, skill, and a d10. So if you've got something that you've got 4 in your attribute, 2 in your skill, all you need is a 4 or more.
I think this system might be a little too prone to just failing more than you succeed, though. But then again, I don't think you're supposed to roll that off, and I think this is like Fate, where you're just kind of bullshitting. I'm not a fan
Probably.
of this. This is a little too soft for my flavor, but
You get bonuses also the more above 10 you roll.
okay. It's
So
just the
they
problem
get
is getting over 10 is kind of a pain in the ass.
so testing body plus melee skill with a punch, rolling a 9, getting a total of 14 points, which means base you would have dealt 3 because of the attribute, and 4 power bonus.
Oh God, that I'm sorry, Julius. You managed to somehow roll massively under. You have somehow managed to punch yourself into oblivion. I didn't even know you could do that.
I
Oh,
mean, this
I
is
know
probably
why. It's because like in Werewolf 5th edition, they can come back. You just get tormented
yeah.
by
But
Hugh
then
Neutron for a while.
you add in advantages and disadvantages.
Hi, welcome to the Deep Umbra, Jimbo. I need you to help me polish my nightmare ducks.
So if you have an advantage on a test, you roll 2d10 and take the highest. Disadvantage, roll 2d10, take the lowest.
Oh, you don't. Okay. Hey, someone mentioned that they were drinking Jepson's Malort. That's kind of my opinion on this mechanic. That's a lot of swinging. That is a heavy swing. Holy shit.
Then we go here with combat. Obviously, opponents get reactions.
Let's see. Did they borrow the method for how this works? Nope. Okay.
So if you're entering, you activate, opponents activate, and you roll to see if you get the higher value.
Yeah,
You
their
succeed
reactions are activated after the action of the vampire, so vampire always goes first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you have weapons and armor. So disarmed, just basic melee, your damage is the body attribute. Knives, +1. Swords, hammers, +2. Axes, greatswords, +3. Ranged weapons, basic bow and arrow to pistol, +1. Shotgun, +2. Machine gun, +3. Grenades, just a 6. Explosives, you'll be doing 8 to 15 damage.
Well, to be fair, they have a whole vampire type that's all about being horny, so I guess the system being all about swinging makes sense.
Hey. Then you've got your armor. Shields reduce damage by 1. Tactical or medieval armor reduces 3 damage. So I guarantee you, they have they know that they have fans that are going to want to play this in the Dark Ages.
I'm just envisioning them trying to do a LARP in like a major in a major Brazilian city. Like, let's go with Minas Gerais just because I think it's really funny. Or alternatively, Fortaleza. Let's go with Fortaleza. Why not? Fortaleza. Uh, they go out in their knight armor with their foam swords, and
I mean, there's got to be a Brazilian historical reenactment community there.
oh, there is. There definitely are historical
I mean,
reenactment
they have
communities.
the descendants of Confederate veterans that fled there because it was the only state in the world that still had slavery,
Yes, they
at
did.
least in our hemisphere.
Yeah, this is as shallow as a dog's backside. This is not winning me over at all.
Yeah.
I,
Then
I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I'll be fair on that.
This is
it's for a different audience, I think.
for an audience of people who are like, we have vampire at home.
This is like chugging a bottle of dandelion and burdock. I don't like the direction this is going.
The thing is, I'm going to defend at least it's not the Vergina incident of RPGs.
God,
It,
I want it to be the
oh,
Vargina incident. I
If
want
it
it so
was,
bad,
if it
and
was,
it's
it would have.
not.
If it was, the PDF would have crashed already.
If it was, I would be getting anally probed by this.
Also, it's unfortunate I could not find any other RPG that was translated into English.
I mean, I could have just. I have a couple of Portuguese RPGs I could have just inflicted on you, and we would have just tried to read through it in Portuguese. It would have been fantastically painful for us.
I think that's I I would have probably just gotten my friend and just have him speak to you guys, just to be the translation expert.
So from Haltz, I'm Brazilian and I played a ton of VTM. I should be the target audience, but this is just ass. Yeah, it is rapidly making me lose interest. It's very unfortunate.
All right, but continuing on, we've got the Hunger and the Awakening of Shadows. If you feed on a prey, you regain all lost health immediately. No need to kill, but if the shadow rises, it'll be the end of the prey. Grants you immortality and eternal youth, as well as allowing to heal serious injuries,
Well,
even amputations
I
in a
managed to
matter of
kill and
days.
eat this house cat. I guess I'm back up from full after getting shot in the face a half dozen times by Van Helsing's demented, crazy, crazy great great granddaughter.
You are virtually invulnerable to all types of damage, with the exception of fire and sunlight. If the vampire's health is reduced to 0, then they're taken over by the shadow, and will wake up at the next night at their closest address with 1 point of health. This doesn't happen if they're reduced to 0 in fire or sunlight, in which
Okay.
case they are destroyed. And doesn't matter how many prey you feed on, if at least one of them doesn't fit your cast's favorite prey, they will only be able to sleep if they pass a spirit survival test. Otherwise, Shadow takes control of you. If you are sated, the Shadow will stay appeased for a number of days equal to the vampire's spirit value, allowing them to survive without using blood.
Also, just for those, again, if you're going to do another variant of this, satiated does not have a C, it's a T. I can understand the problem. English is a cursed language.
Now, though, they give us, I guess, the other highlight of the game, the scenario.
Okay.
So, as you'll
Build
notice,
a city.
yes, you get to build a city.
We built this city on prayers and hope.
We built this city.
So we've got the new city, the old city, the industrial district, harbor, and the fields. Probably could have done a bit more.
You could, but they don't want to do that.
They
That's
wanted this to be
effort.
simple, right?
Yeah, sim. So we've got here the concept of Saint Augustine.
Oh, it's a false cognate. They tried to translate it because saciado in Portuguese, yeah. Again, if I
So
pronounce it wrong, assume it's because I'm trying to Spanish it. I'm not trying to do that on purpose.
I do think that they've got a. This map gives you an idea of like what they say like a city layout could be, because there's your coastal area, your ports.
Yeah, because then they give us the idea of
New
New
York, which
York,
is much larger.
and I what they actually do.
I
Like you could look at this, and I think you
It
kind of get.
vaguely maps out.
yeah. They have a big map of New York City, and here's what that looks like. I kind of like that they tried. I just feel like it's missing something.
The more you dig into this, the more you're like, there's some stuff that could be really, really neat in this. I think the event table is handy for a new GM, but I think that other than that, this is not great.
This is MRE military ration model 582 -B that they, to save money, cut the K ration from. So you're just getting the bowl of brown slop that is allegedly some form of soup and a rice
This is a
cracker.
this is a K ration, except it's just the cigarettes.
No, it's not even that. Someone stole the tobacco from the cigarettes. It's just the paper.
Ugh.
It's just the paper from the cigarettes. Someone looted it already.
They have
So
a few like
yeah, they give us some
vague
like
ideas with this for like evolving and how to make your experience go up. They put this here, by the way, like towards the end of the book rather than
Where you
when
probably should, which is not after the events. It should have been before
so
this.
so they give us playing of the game, and it's simple as this: you'll wake up at night and have 12 hours to do what you want during that 12 hours.
We're going with playing with a mediator because I don't know how far we skipped. Are we in playing with a
I'm
group?
at
Did we
page
skip the events?
53,
Thank you.
not page 53.
Okay, I
yeah.
wasn't sure.
So they give, if you're trying to hunt for a prey, you test mind survival. Hunt for favorite prey, again, mind survival. Um, then if you trying to search for temporary shelter, might take about 30 minutes. If you want to buy something, if you want to search for a new haven, find another vampire of the Legion. So a lot of this seems to be where your character is going to be set up. They'll be doing events, whatever, and
I find
then
it
you'll
interesting that for all of the matter that they don't really give a shit about hardcore mechanics, they really get on you for time. I understand why, because, well, if you're caught in sunlight, you're dead, but it's really
the
weird. This is the one thing they're very strict on.
well the other thing I think would be this: if it's solo or if it's group play, you need something that's going to bind everyone together. That's going to force you to not just go and do whatever, and it's that you're limited by time.
Apparently, Holtz was surprised. I was joking that this is a hex scroll. Nope, it is a hex scroll.
It
Also,
is a hex crawl.
apparently, we
It's
were
a
very accurate in describing what a Brazilian army ration truly is. Hey, think about it like this: at least it's not Bolivian prison food. No,
Bolivian
seriously.
prison food is the sort of like how do I put Bolivian prison food? It's the sort of shit that you can make a acid out of to burn through the iron bars of your cell.
I'm not even kidding. Bolivian prison food. It is the bare minimum. It is essentially, they studied the Shoah. They analyzed the amount of rations required from both the Gulag, Sharashka, and the camps, and the German camps, and said, ah, this is the amount where people start to die from. Let us give them one more calorie, not kilocalorie, one more calorie to sustain the bare minimum of survival. And it somehow eats through the styrofoam. It is scientifically designed to be the bare minimum a human can survive off of.
And they wonder why there's riots. But so they also tell us how many vampires are going to be there. However many sectors you have, that's how many vampires. Um, you'll have servants equal to your spirit.
Yeah, emptiness is a great way to describe it, Holtz. It is kind of, it exists.
Then you get, though, your scenarios. So depending on where you are, you roll a 2d10. First one tells you which half of the events, and then second half is the second roll determines what the actual event is. So they
So
say here
this
with
is
the
one of the
new,
ways to do it. Oh, I know what they're trying to do. This is like a really weird D percentile system for whatever reason,
well, they don't want to roll like a d20, so it's d10, d10.
which is how you essentially do a D percentile.
So you perhaps may see witnessing a pair of officers arrest an important character. Um, and Adze invites you to work for him for $200 a night. You accept. Uh, you roll 1d10 at the beginning of every night. A result greater than 8 means that Adze asks you to solve an important event.
Wow, these event tables even kind of suck. Wow. Wow.
You find evidence that a powerful master warlock is an important city personality trying to keep his true nature a secret.
I'm not trying to be rude. It's just this is this is someone trying to this is like watching a doppelganger. This is like watching Bizarro, like a Bizarro person from the Cube world of Superman, trying to understand how humans make RPGs. Bizarro RPG. No, that you have to put
Listen,
you put the table
Hmm.
so that you can
this
share up.
is
This
thi-
apparent looking at
this is
they have made a second edition, I think.
now.
To
I don't know if the second edition is better, but I don't want to find out.
I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be awful. It's just this is ah.
There's a lot to be there's a lot to be worked on in this. Like there's the concepts of an idea. I think the hex idea is actually really useful.
It's a good idea. Just like I think if they added a little more terrain, they slightly bulked the mechanic. It doesn't need to be heavily bulked, but a slightly. It needs crunch, man. It needs.
and I
It
think
needs more
it
granularity. It needs more crunch.
Needs more crunch, and you need to actually describe like vampire society a little more, man. What else does the demon do? Like, maybe like some details about that. Oh God,
apparently the second edition does give more in terms of like ruined cities, underground tunnels, shorelines.
that helps,
Um,
but that's only more gubbins. Like, I feel like this needs like another. This needed
yeah,
another
I'm
sweep.
yeah, I'm looking at it, and yeah, that does seem to be the issue. I mean, I do think actually the hex thing works really well.
It works really well, and
The
also
idea is probably is you start in one area, and if you're going to be meeting at a different one, various random encounters can happen.
also
Various
Holtz.
random encounters can happen, but what I would do actually with this is it's a good way to map out how long does it actually take you to get across the city at night. How much time are you doing? And it gives players a reference for like, all right, what can we actually do tonight? Because we've got to go here. We have a safe location here. How do we get there? And then it'll also allows you to build some tension with like, oh, are we going to actually be able to reach our haven if we need to do what we have to do tonight?
I was also going to say that this is inspiring in me I wouldn't say better, but an idea. Just what if Darkest Dungeon but urban exploration fantasy? Like
Oh,
it's a roguelike where you're
Oh,
going
I
into a pre-generated sort of urban hellscape.
I mean, I completely agree. Like, you could definitely do a very interesting look at like a fantastical city with this sort of system where you're trying to get this idea of like here's the zones of control, and because it's a hex you don't have to map it more than like an extremely vague way for like a city, so you don't have to be like incredibly anal about like certain location. You can say this hex has this hex has that,
And on top of
and
that, you could
is
do stuff like like this is the equivalent of Mordheim. Originally, this was a normal city. Here we go. It's a norm. It was a normal city that roughly correlates to one of ours, like a normal modern kind of city. Then some weird shit happened to it, and only the outskirts are semi-stable.
I
So
mean,
you,
basically,
the
this is
urban
just Stalker.
explorers, yeah,
This is just Stalker, the RPG.
Well, it's not.
I mean,
This
that's sort of
isn't,
that
but
idea.
Or Stalker, the
Magical
miniature
Stalker.
tabletop role-playing game.
I mean, what we're talking about here more is like how you map out a city without it becoming just really anal. Like, oh, this is on X street, Y street. You're like, no, this
and I
is in
think this
this
is
area.
fine. This is a fine. This is actually a much better system for that. I, you know what this book? This book is Zoonosis. This book is Zoonosis, the RPG, because I feel like my brain is pacing in desperation. Just, there's nothing to grab onto. There's not enough.
Yeah, I can kind of feel that.
Also, the vampires, they again forgot about their Indian vampires. What did they do to you? Forget about them. Oh, I know why they cut the sixth one out. Tech. It's because that way 5 is you can split 10 into 5. That's why. They just forgot to get rid of it.
Uh, yeah, that would actually explain it.
So then they bring up a page 65. Sort of how do you refine these roles?
I love the money complex. I love this money system because there's parts of it that make sense, and then there's other parts where it's just like, you're really gonna tell me
What?
like what?
Like,
Well,
hold on.
okay, yeah, let's.
For example,
Heavy
I can
clothes
tell
is
you right.
$200.
Yeah, $200 for heavy clothes. What are you, sir? Big and tall? Also, I can assure you, you can get your hands on a pistol for well under $700. Will it be good? No, it's probably Keltec, but you
I
can
mean,
get it
it's
easily.
Brazil. It's
Yeah.
it's
The other thing
Brazil.
I'm
It's
wondering is
worse.
how
No.
much is
You
this
don't
translated
understand.
from Brazilian currency?
You don't fucking understand. No. Keltec has a thing called quality control. Keltec has a thing called reliability. Keltec has a thing as a reputation to uphold. No.
For
You're
what
you're
little it is,
buying.
yeah.
Well, the reputation is cocaine-fueled nightmare guns that somehow function, but and in that niche they excel. The problem is that this is not. We're again, as I said, we're not dealing with that here. We're dealing with the abomination, El Diablo. We're dealing with
Oh
fucking
yeah,
Taurus.
we're working with La
With
Atrocidad.
Taurus. We're working with Taurus here. Taurus is one of the worst quality control manufacturers on the goddamn planet. And guess what?
Fantastic.
Guess where they're from? Brazil. I have never seen a Taurus pistol that is not a piece of shit.
So imagine spending $750 for a Taurus pistol.
Imagine that. That is like the equivalent of going out and stabbing yourself in the balls. Like, you could buy a Glock. You could buy a Glock for like $600. Yeah, sure. But at least that Glock's gonna function until you like drive a fucking like SUV with like run flat tires over it. Maybe.
I mean, if you're clever enough, you could akimbo. You could maybe not a Glock, 2 Glocks, but you could akimbo 2 pistols perfectly fine. They don't even have to be Saturday Night Specials. So
Sorry,
you know what you're
I'm
doing.
looking.
No,
I am
Glocks
looking up.
are.
I'm looking up Taurus. They had a million pistol product recall for 9 of their guns manufactured between 1997 and 2013.
Yeah, here's the thing: people shit on Sig
Yeah.
nowadays because of the Indian factories
Yeah,
that have the faulty trigger.
the people
Taurus, no.
Yeah, this is like I need to stress everybody memes on Taurus for a good reason, and that reason is holy shit, their quality control is bad. Like Sigs is just that they made a lemon of a design and then bribed its way into service.
It's not even a lemon of the design. It's quality control in the factory. Well, the design's bad, but
No,
there's also quality control issues too.
well, the problem with the design is objectively worse than every other striker fired pistol on the market
Fair enough.
because of that flaw. Like it's not even like a machining thing. It's you can go quality control is the reason for it, and I would semi agree with that. But it's because that you still shouldn't be relying on your quality control to prevent your design from blowing the fuck up. Like this is something that every other manufacturer has fucking solved.
Jorkbond asks, so a zip gun could be made better than a Taurus? There are zip guns that are made in prison that are better than a Taurus.
No, Taurus is still better than that because at the very least, there is machining. Is it good machining?
You haven't seen
You're
a
spinning
high
the
quality
roulette
zip
wheel.
gun, have you?
I've seen high quality zip guns. You're not thinking exactly in the right way here because like that's not what Taurus is. Taurus is I have $300 and I need something that'll go bang.
I have $300.
And I'm too dignified to buy a high point. I have too much self-respect to buy a high point, so I'm going to buy a Taurus instead.
No. It's not even that. I got kicked out of the gun shop for trying to get a high point because I accidentally fucked up on my paper. So I have to go
Listen,
to the next county over. I have to go
I know
to
there's
the
some
next
people
county
that
over.
are gonna like say like, oh, that's you're being stereotypical about Taurus. I own a Taurus and it's fine. Yeah, they're fine until they fucking explode in your hand.
They're the pit bull of guns.
Like yours might be fine. Yours might be the nicest shooting pistol ever. I'm still not fucking pulling that trigger because I'm worried that thing is gonna fucking malfunction.
At any point, even if you've maintained it, it could just choose that day to just say fuck this gay earth and take your hand with it.
I mean, yeah, that's the worry.
You could fire it 1,000 times, 100,000 times, but much like a pit bull and its compulsion to maul children, particularly infants, at some point it will crave your finger bones and just
At some point, that motherfucker is gonna say, "Father, I crave violence," and just blow up.
So Holt's pointing out here that we've turned on the shit on the Tar show, or realized the Mike Burnfire parody hour.
Well, he's completely correct. That's the thing about Taurus. It is that bad.
The thing is that this game is not like that. Like, I am looking at some of the artworks
This
that
game has some actual thought.
are you contemplating committing felonies? Have you given up on life? But do you feel too dignified to ever touch a high point? Buy Taurus. Taurus, the weapon for you on a budget. Warning: may or may not remove fingers, may or may not remove hands. We are not responsible for any hand explosions by the weapon involved.
but it does look like this is designed for a rules light, quickly done, bare bones game.
I would
Now
say
they have made a
this is a good
remaster.
first draft. That's the problem. It
Oh
feels like
yeah,
a
as
first
a first
draft.
draft, this is great. This is the sort of thing you then test your way out of.
Which they did, and they just said, "Ah, it's good enough."
They have made a remaster, and again they're making a werewolf and a mage. Or I guess in this case it's called witch.
I
I mean, given how this one's turning out, I have lost a lot of interest in reading those.
like I give him a shot, maybe, but like
Not back to back.
you'd have to really, really impress me.
Not back to back. I'd rather dry fire a Taurus repeatedly than back to back.
Well,
God damn it.
hopefully, you know, I am a bit sorry that this is a bit of a bad showing of the Brazilian RPGs.
No. Think about it like this. I'm shitting on it, but it's not out of hatred. It's out of a lack of there being more.
Yeah. But I think
It
one thing
is
you could tell.
functionally okay. It is
Just like a
structurally
Taurus.
playable.
It's structurally a firearm.
All of the machining indicates that it should work.
Also, Holter saying give him credit for not going ham on the local mythos.
Honestly, I would have been happier if they had.
They have, but I feel like that's a lot for like us who are not Brazilian, who be like, what does the Brazilian folklore life?
I mean, it's partially that it's partially just like it would be more interesting if they decided to give it a distinctly local flavor rather than
They should have. I mean,
rather international.
I know vampires are not necessarily like they're more mature and they're not really a thing in the Americas, not like in a unique way. But I already mentioned Cabaloco, Cabalopo, the horrifying old man monster. There's a bunch of creatures you can use from Brazilian myths that I think would have been much more interesting than this.
If I can somehow find a English version of Tormenta, we should
Oh
probably get
hell
to
yeah!
reviewing that.
I want to.
Yeah,
That is something I have been wanting to do for years. Is to look through Tormenta.
like look, we here at Dicecom are a fan of foreign media in various different forms. One of my favorite films is a foreign film, which is The Raid. If you haven't watched The Raid, go fucking watch The Raid. It came out like a decade and a half ago. It's fucking great.
One of the movies I still watch every now and again is Goodbye Lenin, which is a German movie, which I also really like a lot.
I mean, does technically Mad Max count as a foreign film?
It was
No.
filmed in Australia, but no.
That's got to
The
be.
Raid is hard to qualify because I think it is very much an Indonesian film, but it was released in the United States with subtitles and directed by, of all things, a Welsh guy. So that's a weird one, but I consider it foreign media because it was filmed and is intended to be consumed in its original language that everybody else is speaking, which is definitely not English.
I mean, another thing I've also just out of fun have chosen to do occasionally is just an entertaining thing to do is just kind of sit down and look at some of the weird Soviet era cartoons from across the Iron
Oh
Curtain.
yeah, those are fun.
That's always fun to
So,
do.
hopefully, this was at least an interesting look at one of the outings of Brazil's RPGs. If we somehow are able to also learn Portuguese, we might be able to do Tormento.
If we somehow learn Portuguese, I don't know, man. Like that's the thing. I don't know if this would read better in its original language or not, and I don't think it will.
It would read a
Like
bit
that's the
cleaner. It would read a bit more cleanly, I think, but no. All in all, I'm gonna probably rate that. I have to rate this on the. Oh God. Uh,
I call this playable. Like it is
It is
playable.
playable.
It is a game. It is very functionally a game. It's
yeah.
not
Would it be something that I'd want to do?
no.
Not outside of the hex system. That hex system actually does
That
intrigue
hex
me.
system's actually like I like the
It's
hex
clever.
system
It's one
as
of
a
the
concept.
highlights of it. Yeah.
I
I'm
think
just
that that's
trying
actually
because
a
it's like
really
what
good design.
definition is playable because it's like on that borderline for me. Like yeah, it flows fine, but I think that the
Playable is
advantage and
like we don't
disadvantage
have anything bad about it to say about it other than
true.
it's like it's other than it's like it's in a weird position.
Well,
Like
no,
that's
because
that's
the
kind of where I'm
mechanics,
at
there's
on it.
some quirky mechanics about that because remember, the target you always have to beat's 10. You're dealing with a D10 and the best you can kind of get's like a 5. Well, no, like a 6 or something unless you get more experience. So it's a little swingy, especially when you factor in advantage and disadvantage. Like the percentile chances for this are really borked if you think about it. But yeah, it is a game. It is playable. I'm not angry at its existence. This isn't like this is n- I am frustrated because I see the kernel of what is within what it could be. And then also admittedly I think I'm spoiled because of Vampire. Yeah,
Like
it's
Yeah,
Will
not
says,
done yet. Put me back in the oven. I'm not done.
I mean, that's a good way to put it. Like this is very much in that rank of like, yeah, I can see that. If these guys like keep at it, I can see something really special coming out of this. But like for right now, give it a pass.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
better it's
It's
better
playable.
mechanically than
this is
some
the
of the
first
powered by the
edition.
apocalypse crap that we've gone through. It's much
Oh
more
yeah,
Yeah,
playable than that.
and it is a first edition.
It's structurally clean. The art I liked the art that they used. The art assets they used were good. It needed another 20 pages to flesh out stuff. It also needs a slightly larger. It doesn't need a ton of setting, but a little more would help.
A
yeah.
little more just like how do you
If they
build
had
this?
maybe like a design your own bloodline.
Design your own city or design your own bloodline section.
Oh,
Like,
the city
that could
thing,
be
yeah,
That
really
would
they had
help.
the design your own city there.
Design your own vampiric powers. Maybe also include like some vampire hunter organizations, since you did establish them as being a big threat. Maybe go in a little bit of detail about the shadow demons in full. Like, you don't need to explain their motivations completely, but it does help. Like, what type of shadow demon you got? I mean, because the mental image of, for example, of just this fountain of violence, which has Hugh Neutron as his shadow monster, sounds amusing to me. Going off to slaughter the innocent again, eh, Jimbo? Don't forget to pick up the milk. Go at the supermarket. I know we can't really get much out of it, but I do want myself a glass of milk.
But I guess then that leaves us for what are we going to do next week?
That's a good question. Huh.
I'm tempted to break out a game I've had in my folders for a while. In terms of, it's an interesting game to look at, but it might not be for everybody's like cup of tea.
What's the game?
I was thinking we'd look at the newer edition of Twilight 2000.
Okay.
Oh.
I was a little worried you were going to reference Lancer instead. So Twilight is
God
definitely
no! Like, I'm
interesting.
not going to bring up Lancer because I know you're going to fucking just be bitching and whining about it the entire time.
You
But
know
if
me
everyone,
all too
but yeah,
well.
hey, we'll get to see what World War III was supposed to be back in the 90s.
That would be the first edition. I've got I've actually got a lot of the original books here downloaded, and I
See,
do have
yes.
a lot of the V4 stuff because fourth edition is based on the Year Zero engine, uh, for good and for ill. I think it's a perfectly fine system for this.
I've always liked the Year Zero engine. Alien the RPG uses it to good effect.
Yeah, it's the same company. It's just that I feel like it can be a little bit wonky, I guess is the best way to put it, when you're dealing with something like this, where
It's not
it's
good for
basically
long play. It's never good for long play because you don't really progress out of it, yeah.
yeah, which arguably with Twilight 2000 is both good and bad.
It's fine because, let's be fair, you're probably going to get killed by radiation or banditry. You're
I mean, the
probably going to
system is
drop.
very lethal. If you're not if you get ambushed, you're basically GG. Those characters are dead.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
I wouldn't
let's
mind
do
looking
that.
at Twilight. The post-apocalypse of World War III, but without the wacky radiation effects this time. We
The
might try.
radiation's
We
just
might
gonna
try to do
fucking
Brazil
kill
month,
you.
but it would be very confusing for all of us, Lestal. It would literally be us poorly reading Portuguese in the vein of Spanish, or alternatively having to hire some poor random Portuguese man or Brazilian man to read it to us like we're dumb children.
I mean, we could. That'd be interesting. It's basically a bunch of gringos go to Brazil.
Except for the fact that we're halfway through the month.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other factor. If we could ever get our hands on like an English translation of Tormenta, I do want that has been one of the things I've been wanting to do for a couple of years at this point.
I don't blame you on that. There's some fever dreams out there in the foreign RPG market where you're just like, who the fuck made this? Why?
I mean,
What's
heck,
going
I
on?
have a translation copy of the Dark Eye specifically because eventually I do want to cover it on this show at one point.
That's the German one, isn't it?
Yeah, the one that
Yes.
actually rivaled and defeated D&D back in the day.
Then there's a Spanish brand Colonia, or no, I think it's an Italian one.
Well, I mean, actually, in general, talking about the German RPG scene, it would be very interesting because it is bizarre how much influence they had over certain products because of publishing rights in Germany, to the point
Shadowrun,
where
for
this
example.
Shadowrun, FASA is actually one of the big ones for it, but there's a few other properties that I think had like a big German impact.
Also, NDR here is volunteering to translate. If you're willing to translate over 400 pages, well, I'd
We
say
would
we
be
pay you,
willing
but
to. That is a sacrifice I am willing to make by using you.
Yep.
instead we'll get to see what military adventurism in Eastern Europe looks like.
I mean, I wouldn't call it military adventurism. I'd call it
The aftermath of.
I wouldn't call it the aftermath. This is what happens when shit really hits the fan.
The results of FAFO. They fucked around and found out in a Cold War scenario.
Everybody fucked around and everybody found out.
Yep. See you next week.